Hello everybody and Happy New Year 2016. I hope you had a good, whatever it is, Christmas, New Year's Eve. Got a lot of gifts for Christmas, had a nice celebration, recovered and entered this beautiful new year with, I don't know what, good intentions. I don't know if I have any New Year's resolutions. I haven't given it much thought. Probably, yeah, drink more coffee, smoke more, go less to the gym, and crush you all in Banter Blitz. That's the reason why we're here. You do know the rules. You challenge me to a game of 3 minutes or 5 minutes. I haven't done this for a while. I'm really not very fluent in my speech just yet. Anyway, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. That's about it. Let me know if there is, the usual technical problems. My haircut. All that good stuff, but if I don't hear any complaints, I will jump right into it. No video, it's working, mixed opinions, but that's our spirit. If it's working for someone somewhere out there, we're gonna roll with it. Sounds fine. All right, then, let's do this again. Happy New Year. This is me testing the setup against Claudia. I haven't really done much over the holidays, improving the setup. I think we need a new design at some point in 2016. So we might go all crazy with the colors, add some more gray tones or something like that. We shall see. Now let's start rolling. Oh, rolling? Joanne K. Rolling. Against Mr. Better Call Saul. I've watched that show. It's an excellent show, and that's coming from someone who's not a big fan of Breaking Bad, so by all means, check it out. It is a very, very entertaining show. Much lighter than Breaking Bad. And I like that dude. What's his name again? The main actor? Can't remember. Saul Goodman. Before he was Saul Goodman, it is a very good show. Bunch of questions in the chat. While we're waiting for Better Call Saul to arrive, maybe he's still on the phone, I'm gonna answer some questions. Ritvik Radhakrishnan asks, how many videos are there gonna be on the D4 repertoire for Black Series? Yeah, part 2 is almost out there, even though I keep delaying it. It's gonna be coming in. I shouldn't give new deadlines because it's becoming embarrassing, but I'm confident it's gonna be out in a couple days. I believe it's gonna be 4 parts total, so part 2 is coming out now. And then, there's gonna be a lot of stuff happening. Vike and Zay is starting, which I'm excited about. I'm gonna be commentating at the very least the second half, where I'm extremely excited that our boy and World Cup finalist Peter Svidler is gonna be joining me to do the second half of Vike from this very studio in Hamburg. We're gonna do our own little Chess24 show. So that's gonna be fun. There's also gonna be Zurich. We have some new arrivals here. Fiona Steil-Anthony joined our team. Gonna be fun to work with her. Finally, someone with people skills, because I don't really like anybody. So that's always good to have around. And we're happy and optimistic here in Chess24 land. So things are good, but Better Call Saul is not there, and I'm gonna have to abort. Sad but true. Sorry, Saul. Let's see if anybody is around. How about the Clash City rocker? What is the Clash City? He's Canadian. Probably it's a place in Canada. I have no idea. Where's the Clash from? As you can see, I haven't changed my style to chess at all over the year. I don't have any resolutions. If anything, I want to become more boring and play less tactical chess and just grind you guys down or flag you. And I hate to see the King's Indian because it gives a remote chance of running into a kingside attack. So I'm going for my pet system with G3, and the Clash City rocker goes for C6, followed by castle, C6 and D5. I believe is objectively the best setup, but most King's Indian players don't like it. And while I'm talking here, I'm already running into time trouble because this is a 3-minute game. Here Black should go D5 when, with the move order I chose, he's gonna be threatening D4, so I would have to take it and play D4 myself, which leads to this symmetrical Grunfeld. Not exciting, but he doesn't go for it. He goes for knight a6. I think I'll try to punish that by playing e4. d4 would be more natural, but e4 might make it a little harder for him to get in d5. So I'm not sure after cd, cd. e5 is interesting and ed5 would also be interesting. Well, if he goes d6, yeah, now this knight is slightly clumsy. He goes knight c7. I'll just play h3 to stop him from going bishop g4, getting his pieces out, when I think I reached a very comfortable position. b5 looks principled, but b5 might tempt me into going e5, opening the diagonal so I can have a look at this weakness on c6. Yeah, queen e8 is sort of a logical move, preparing e5 and keeping an eye on c6, but it does look a little clumsy, and I'll try to meet it by going b3. My point is, if he goes e5, now I have bishop a3, which looks unpleasant because it's putting pressure on this soft spot in the black position. And yeah, I think this knight a6, knight c7 experiment is gonna backfire, because now there's problems already. I'm threatening d5, I'm threatening bishop d6, ed just knight d4, and yeah, it's not gonna be easy to keep everything defended here for black. Or at least that is my hope. He goes c5, which is logical, to at least lock this bishop out, but after knight b5 and takes, I have the feeling any tactics should favor me with knight d6 and knight c7 in the air. Knight takes e4, I'm gonna have to think a little bit. Another thing that hasn't changed, I still dislike thinking, but I'm not sure. Rook c1 looks a little slow, but I'll still do it. Now I'm threatening knight c7 and I'm threatening rook e1. I could have gone rook e1 immediately, which was probably a little more principled, but I didn't want to have to bother about thinking about bishop takes a1, and I couldn't see a good reply to this rook c1 either. So we shall see how it goes. Queen c6 has been played. A move that I missed, I have to admit. It's a good move, avoiding the immediate loss of material. Now knight c7 is parried. This knight is still pinned, but he can hang on to it with f5. And yeah, I'm not very crushing just yet in this lovely new year. Completely missed that move, which is very strong. And all this talking, I'm running low on time, so it's probably time to switch to making horrible moves quickly mode, which is my usual MO. What else is going on? Yeah, the Vienna as mentioned, a couple more days. I feel bad about the delay, but I've been working hard on it, believe it or not. f5 has been played. I just blundered a pawn by missing queen c6, so I'm gonna go for damage limitation as self-compensation for the pawn. But rook c1 was embarrassing with hindsight, one of my fortes. Still in decent shape now because of the pin and all that good stuff, but it was not the plan. Yeah, Vike 16 till 31 of January. There's some more stuff happening in Chess 24 land, which is also the reason I can't do it full time, but I'm also excited about it because one of my favorite chess coaches, Grandmaster Artur Yusupov, will be around to record some video series with myself for a week, so I'm very happy to have him here, but that's gonna interfere with Vike. However, we will find people to have good entertainment for the whole time. I got some names in mind, but it's not 100% confirmed yet. What is confirmed is that Svidler is gonna be around from round 6 till 13, so for more than half of it, and that's gonna be good. I'm down to 39 seconds with all my excitement about upcoming stuff and apologizing for the Vienna series. So time to get into flagging mode. Clash City Rocker has been holding himself very, very well in this game. He took too much time for that one. He thinks we're still playing chess. We're trying to win on time. 19, 18. Oh, I might flag while trying to checkmate him and failing miserably. Yeah. This is a sad first game. Queen g4 check and black is fine. Queen h3 also a decent move. I will win on time, but I will be slightly embarrassed and then quietly enjoy that I managed to flag him. This must be a bad omen, but good fight by Clash City Rocker, and same old, same old. Let's move on. Whom do I play? I barely won that one, so I'm scared. very, very scared. But I think I need a wake-up call, and I've never played against Mr. Katsandfotes, is that his name? Yeah, that's his name. 2-4-79 from the Netherlands. At least it's a 5-minute game. But we shall see. Yeah, we won't make it all the way out to Vikensee. Even though I always enjoy being there. It's a great atmosphere. I've been there a couple of times as a second. But now I gotta deal with a Dutch guy at a distance. Katsandfotes goes d4, knight f6, c4, e6. I've played all three reasonable moves here. Knight c3, knight f3, and g3. But the queen c2 Vienna is sort of one of my main lines. I'm not sure if I play this more than 3 knight f3. Probably I play 3 knight f3 more. But I've done a video series on this one, and I hope he hasn't seen it. And this move 5 knight f3, which is a move I recommended there, still carries a bit of surprise value. c5 is the main line, but d5 also a good move. If I recall correctly, I recommended bishop f4. In my series, bishop g5 is the main move, but I could never find anything there, and I thought bishop f4 led to a sort of fresh, interesting play. So let's see what Katsandfotes does. Problem with bishop g5 is that black can go h6, g5, knight e4 with tempo. Play becomes very sharp. Well, after bishop f4, it's harder to harass this bishop. And if things develop a little more slowly, as they do here, I believe white tends to have a good position. Always gotta keep an eye out for g5, kind of things even here, but it doesn't look like it should arrive in time. Bishop f5 is possible, but then I'll just castle, and I'll have a pretty decent position. Yeah, Vike is always fun, because they have Lukey Boy around. I love Luke van Vele. I'm always happy to have him in the tournaments, and I'm always slightly happy. I can never decide if I root for him or against him. Like, I want to see him do well, but it's also kind of enjoyable to see him suffer and get checkmated in a night off. So either way, his games are never boring, and that's gonna be a lot of entertainment. And then we got some other guys I'm less curious about, like Caruana, Giri, Carlsen, Dingley, and so on. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. I believe Houyi Fun is in there as well. Should be a good tournament. Now let's crush Katsandfotes. c6. He's playing slowly. He shouldn't be allowed to play so slowly in this line. Knight e5 is the first move that I am contemplating. But then f6, and I'm not sure I've achieved anything. Knight takes e4, f e5. Ooh, could get messy. Bishop g5 then. Nah. Not that convinced. I'll start with a3, see what he's up to. But yeah, this didn't feel critical. Maybe knight e5 was the way to go, but I couldn't see a good follow-up after f6. Find out we shall. No, I've never played Tata Steel Beat, but I was there a couple times as a second. Once with Lukey, I believe twice with Smates. Now I can't resist this jump any longer. He should still go f6, but f6 also slightly weakens his position, so I'll have an excuse for doing it, and I can at least think about f6, knight takes e4, which I probably won't do, but I might think about it. Katsandfotes also falling into deep thought here. I don't really see any alternatives to f6, so I'm not sure what he's considering. Maybe knight d7. Then knight takes e4, let's say d4, queen c8. That one I didn't see coming at all. His point must be that after a couple of exchanges on e4, he has f6 and wins his piece back. Still a clumsy looking move. Another point is he wants to defend the bishop and meet f3 with knight d6. Feeling there should be punishment for it. I can't see anything better than this and this, which however looks pretty decent, occupying the center while his pieces are less than ideally placed, let's say. I still have to be very careful because there's f6 that could upset my knight on e5. But for now I'm gonna be happy and pretend all of this makes perfect sense, while obviously both of my eyes are on the clock where I have half a minute advantage, which is very exciting news. He takes, and he's probably going to go bishop e6, but now I should have pretty serious advantage, actually, if you can get this complete pawn center without black developing any counterplay. It It's normally bad news for black. Bishop g6. I think I have time to reinforce my center for one more move, and after knight d7 now I wanted to take here and go e5, which should yield me a pawn if I have not miscounted. Knight f5 I'll take, and knight b5 I'll also take. I'm not sure what's the lesser evil for him, probably knight f5, but still, a pawn is a pawn is very much still my core chess philosophy, even though he does get a bit of counterplay, occupies some squares here. Hard to believe it's enough. I'm gonna go fishing for some weaknesses, provoke g6, so that my knight has a bright future. Knight e4 allows knight d5, I'm not that sure about it, but I didn't want to exchange those knights anyway. I want to use this knight to do bad things to him from g5 or from f6. Let's see what he comes up with. Knight d5 looks natural. When I have a decision to make, knight g5 leads to a good endgame as far as I can see, but it feels like there's more in the position and I might just move the bishop. Goes rook d8 when I wish I was a better player and could come up with some devastating mating attack. And I'll pretend I am a better player and can come up with it. d4 I don't think he can take. Looks like there's some punishment. Knight f6 or rook h3, not sure which one. Well, if he has to go g6, I thought rook g3 was clever. Now I'm having second thoughts because of bishop g7. So I'm going to go here instead. He has to go bishop g7 nevertheless, because I'm threatening to jump to f6. And now... sorry. And where is the punishment? Is this the punishment? Probably I should have thought about it first and then gone for it. But wasn't there a best-selling book, a chess book at some point that was called Move First, Think Later? That motto made a lot of sense to me, so I'm applying it here. And now I'm going to apply the checkmate model. Let's go here. And here. It's not really checkmate, but I thought it would win a bunch of material, which is almost as good. Could throw in some rook g6, but now let's stick to pure greed. Queen is a queen. It's not that much of a guiding principle. I prefer a pawn as a pawn, but I'll take the queen if I have to. Yeah, there's not much to hope here for black. Frankly, he can't build a fortress. And one day or another, I shall pick up this rook. This is the day. A lot of important questions. Who do I think will win the candidates? I have no idea. Obviously, I'm rooting for my friend Mr. Svidler. He's the lowest rated, but I think if he's in good shape, he can have as much of a chance as anybody. But I honestly don't know. Like, no one's looked so convincing. I'm always Team Geary, and he's been very stable recently. So if he can pull out a +2, +3, I believe, yeah. He's one of the guys to be considered, but I honestly have no idea. Nakamura, Karana, Topalov, Anand, Aronian, Kayakin, you could choose any name. I'm sure I forgot like one of the players now who's gonna get very upset because all the world-class players are constantly watching my Banter Blitz shows, but I don't have the slightest clue, and even as a betting man, I've studied the odds, but there's nothing that jumped out at me as anything tempting, because I just have no idea. I hope Kiselayoven from Romania also has no idea. I'm white every game, which is nice. I'm gonna go for 1 e4. Sounds like I missed mate in a couple moves, which is very, very likely, but the good old wisdom, if you can grab a rook or give mate, always grab the rook, because it might not be mate. It's not true at all. If you can give mate, because it ends the game. But it's still a useful principle. Well, here we have the, what's it called, Pirts? Another opening where I never learned how to pronounce it. I've used Perch, Pirk, Pirts over the course of my career. I think people have been telling me that Pirts is in fact the correct pronunciation, but what do I know? No, I've never played Simon Williams over the board. But yeah, I think is it. Oh no, that's not true. I lost to him once when I was in some junior tournament. See, I tried to forget about my losses instantly. But yeah, when I was 15, 16 or something, I lost to Simon Williams. And I believe so. Now that I forgot about this game, I'm wondering if I played him some other time. But no, I think that's it. In fairness, I was still very young and weak. Well, the game, yeah, normally black is not supposed to go b4 so early. I'm not sure if it's a big concession. And true to my style, I've castled kingside. Quite often you also want to go for checkmate here with bishop h6, knight g3, e5, which might have been a better choice, but with these early commitment show on the queen side, I thought it would be easier to exploit the weaknesses here with a3. It looks like Kiselyovn, sorry for mispronouncing, has given me a pawn, which I love. Now the bishop is under attack, and there's some problems already for black to solve, apart from the fact that I managed to grab a pawn. Can I go rook a1 or c5 a problem? No, c5 dc doesn't look like a problem, so you should go knight bd7 and hope for the best, but I do have a pawn, which is nice. Still not so sure rook a1 was the smartest move in the history of chess. Now it even looks like black has a shade of compensation. Speaking of a shade, someone told me, I'm not sure if that's confirmed, that 50 Shades of Grey was the movie that did most box office in the year 2015. That's both sad and surprising. I thought it would be Star Wars, even though it probably only ran for like 5 days in 2016. In 2015, sorry. But is it Shades of Grey? I'm going to have to look that up. It would be shocking. Oh, I'm sorry, not Romania, it's the Moldavian Republic. I'm sorry, I looked at the flag, but yeah, it's not the Romanian flag. Apologies. I misread that one. I've watched a lot of Big Bang Theory and all the Fun with Flags episodes, but I'm still really bad at reading flags. Rook e8, can I take on e7? I'm very tempted to take on e7. As usual, I'm worried about entering any complications, because I might miss something, but it looks possible. Rook e7, rook a8, of course, and I was a bit concerned about c5, but I couldn't really see a follow-up for him. If, let's say, I take dc, dc, and I go somewhere with a queen, queen a3, or queen a5, his bishop is still immune because his bishop on a8 is also under attack. In Jurassic Park, beat 50 Shades of Grey. I'm hearing from the chat. That'd be good. I've seen Jurassic Park. I haven't seen 50 Shades of Grey. Jurassic Park, not a great movie, but it was pretty decent entertainment, I thought, for 2 hours, even though I had some complaints, mainly. I think the movie is out long enough, I can spoil it, right? If you don't want any Jurassic Park spoilers, switch off the show now. So my main complaint is that the T-Rex, who I believe was the villain in most of the earlier Jurassic Parks, the new one is called Jurassic World. Anyway, the T-Rex was the good guy, if I watched the movie correctly, and then in the end he's sort of running free, and they say, thanks T-Rex, nice job helping us. Now you do your own thing. Isn't he supposed to be sort of evil? Or dangerous? Let's not call it evil, because they're all dinosaurs, they're not evil. They just want to eat. So that bothered me, but still I thought Jurassic Park was, yeah, enjoyable, let's put it that way. Always good to bring back some childhood memories. For me it's not so much Star Wars as for many other people, but I remember watching the first Jurassic Park in whenever it was, like 93, 94 in the movies, and yeah, it was very visually compelling. Is that English at all? Probably not. But it was fun back then. We had never seen such lifelike dinosaurs. I haven't seen any dinosaurs at all till watching Jurassic Park. I had seen pawns before. I was already a qualified chess player at age 14. Not very highly rated, but it was a different time. I was German champion under 15, but my rating was like 2000, 2100. But I think I played better than that. As most juniors do. They're underrated. That's why you should never play them if you have a chance. Very dangerous. You should try to play, I don't know what age group is best to play. Probably 48-year-olds with a well-established rating, which is pretty much me. Not quite 48 yet, but approaching. And yeah, finally, people are starting some TV show discussions. I always enjoy those almost as much as I enjoy grabbing material. Peaky Blinders, I've told you guys for a while, I believe, on all these shows, is excellent, and everyone should watch Peaky Blinders. This guy, Cillian Murphy, is a great actor, and yeah, everything is good about it. It's just a fantastic show. If you liked The Godfather or any gangster stuff, or if you're English and like British history, whatever, just watch Peaky Blinders. You won't be disappointed. So yeah, Peaky Blinders is excellent. Making a Murderer, very different topic, but very disconcerting and excellent as well. It's a new documentary on Netflix. And yeah, tells you a lot about... I don't want to spoil it too much, and I have some reasonably strong opinions because I was obsessed with it and I read up on it. But yeah, tells you a lot about stuff going on in the United States, so by all means, watch Making a Murderer. Probably should have done it over the holidays, because now it's going to be harder to find the 10 hours to do so. But that's good. What else have I seen? Svidler is getting me into The Last Kingdom, which looked alright. I haven't seen much yet. I can't say it's a great thing I've ever seen, but it looked pretty decent. I'm a nerd, so I like superhero stuff, like January Jones looked like an excellent TV show to me. Sorry, I'm not talking much about the position. I am very winning, and I was fishing for this trick, which I now got in. Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt is alright. It's funny, yeah, and very light-hearted. Not my cup of tea, but it is very funny, and I've spent a lot of time, or reasonable amount of time, a couple months overall, in New York, so I recognize a lot of the places and the New York references, so I enjoyed Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. And what else was brought up there? Mr. Robot, yeah, I was obsessed with Mr. Robot for the first couple episodes, but then I thought it went downhill when it turned from... Nah, I don't want to spoil it. You guys probably want to watch it, and it's a good show, but I was disappointed with the second half. I was very happy about my win in that last game. We can see I haven't done this for a while. Like, not only was the introduction very messy, but now my voice is already abandoning me. But I will still crush Damar V1. Another thing that makes me very sad is that my rating, pretty much ever since I started doing these Banter Blitz shows, it's been pretty much exactly 2800. It hasn't gone down much, like sometimes I fall to something like 2750 and then I'm back, but it also hasn't gone up much. I'm not sure I've ever been 2900, so I need to find a way to rectify that, and improving at chess or blitz is not going to be the way to do it, so it's going to have to be, I don't know, cheating. Nah, don't cheat. I don't cheat. But yeah, I don't know. Find someone really overrated and wait for a moment when they're very, very tired and then flag them a lot. I think that's the plan. I haven't seen Blacklist. I heard, yeah, you can watch it if you're into conspiracy theories, or you can't. Or you can't, yeah. Whatever. Ignore everything I'm saying. I haven't watched it. I've heard it's decent, but I don't know. So much stuff to watch. No one can watch all these shows, unfortunately. Oh yeah, this is a weird line. I used to study this in my younger days. Bishop b5, de5 is a main line. Bishop b3 was sort of an interesting gambit, which after de5, d5 leads to a mess. And I think you're allowed to decline it by playing g6. This is my knowledge from... When was I looking at this? I think that's late 90s, so I'm really not sure that's up to date. But back then g6 was a move, and knight g5 was an interesting answer to provoke d5. Well, yeah, if castle is bishop g7 followed by castles, I think I'm alright, so I thought knight g5 was sort of critical here. But as I said, that's knowledge from the 90s. A lot of old series being brought up. Yeah, we've talked a lot about Spectre on this show. I didn't hate it as much as the critics and everyone, but yeah, I have some problems with it as well. Pretty much standard Bond scene after standard Bond scene, and yeah, this mix of gritty, more realistic with let's bring back all the fun gadgets and nonsense elements didn't work so well for me, but I still thought it was good. Trying to remember if I've seen any movies But no, I think Star Wars is the last movie I've seen. I'm looking forward to The Hateful Eight, but it's gonna take a while till it comes out in very cold Germany, where it's like, I don't know, -5 degrees in our Celsius scale and snowing after, I thought we had global warming. I thought these days were done with and it's been mild all year. But yeah, it turned very, very cold recently. I'm not sure he should have allowed me to go bishop g4, to be perfectly frank. Maybe h3 was worth spending a tempo on, because now his structure is crumbling a little bit. And queen f3, I can just take this guy. Now take this guy. Not sure how bishop e5 or d5 or even knight b3 first all look fairly sensible. I'm going to go d5, which might not be the best choice, but it looked more fun somehow to keep this pawn structure. I was going to say compact, but matter of fact it was more compact had I played bishop takes e5 instead of d5. So I'm not quite sure why I did that, but let's chalk it up to great Grandmaster intuition. I feel like e6 is a useful thing to do as well to control this d5 square, restrict this bishop. Had I taken on b3 after ab, his pieces become a little too active for my taste, so this looks sensible, and the knight on d4 is a pretty good anchor for my position. Nikos Spanos is telling me I should download Hateful Eight. Nah, I've gone very legal. I'm very happy with my Netflix, and I also want to watch Hateful Eight on the big screen. Not sure we have these fancy 70mm cinemas in Hamburg, but probably we do actually, so I want to find one of those and I'll wait so I can watch it at the movies first. I think, yeah, actually I'm going to go watch it with Svidler, a big cineast, and I think he's going to be in town around the same time it comes out. f4. Not going to be able to do that. I'm just wondering how to punish, but I guess I will, as always, err on the side of grabbing pawns. Knight b3 followed by e4 is possible. Knight f5 is also possible. When he could go bishop b6. I don't know. I guess I'll go for... Somehow feel dirty about always grabbing pawns, never making like one interesting move. But a leopard cannot change its spots. Oh, and I blundered bishop b6, so instead of grabbing, I blundered. That is very embarrassing once again. I thought I had rook b8, but I do not. Oh, this is gonna be trouble. I might just be a piece down here. The problem with rook fb8 is he can just go queen anywhere on this diagonal, and I can't recapture either way. So I'm gonna have to go for swindling. Now he can go queen takes a7, which was of course a big problem. Then I was intending to go for f3 and fishing, but so far, yeah, I'm playing absolutely pathetic chess. From a winning position, I've really bungled this by blundering a piece. And you regular viewers of Banter Blitz will know that I don't normally blunder pieces. Maybe I do, I'm just too full of myself. And after f3, he can also go gf. And I don't really have a follow-up, but I still have hope that with the king so weak, I can make something happen. And I believe I will actually, but this was really not part of any plan. And maybe I can't make anything happen. I don't see any tricks at the very least. Nope. I'm in trouble. I'm gonna have to keep fishing for cheapos, but I do not like it much. Just rook ad1, and I still don't see tricks. I'm hoping for rook g2, rook takes b6, or one of those. Rook f2 doesn't allow me to do that. Maybe it does, but not sure how good it is. Still do it for lack of alternatives. But I am probably very lost. Point is queen b6, bishop d4, and at least he can't go queen b4 because of bishop f2, but he can go rook a4, for example, which is a problem. And then bishop f2, queen f2 or king f2, not queen f2 probably. Well, I'm still a piece down, fishing. I know rook a4, I have queen g5. See, I blunder for both sides, for him and for me. So can't do that, he has to go queen b5, and now I believe I might be able to get some of my material back. Because this queen b2 attacks a lot of stuff. Suki Ray wants to know my origin story. How did I get my GM norms? I was bad at getting GM norms. I believe I was the strongest IM in the world. That's probably a lie, but I was a very strong IM, like rated 2570 for a very long time, and very consistently missing the GM norm by half a point. Then yeah, at some point I got all three, but I was already pretty much or very close to 2600, I believe. That's my recollection when I became a GM, and I've stayed there ever since. But yeah, I became a GM at an old age, like 23 or 24. Nowadays you tell kids to retire if you're not a GM by 16, just hang it up, but those were different times. Not really, I just was a slow learner. But yeah, pretty much. I took forever to score 3, and after that I scored a lot, but you only need 3, so that was kind of not ideal. Then again, I wasn't that worried about becoming a GM. That might sound strange, but I was like a 2500 plus rated player for a while, ever since I was like 19, 20. And I thought that with standard deviation, and if I play enough, I should get there. And I did, but it took me a long time. Rock and roller from Switzerland, country known for rock and roll music. Not sure that is true. I'm trying to take all the rock and roll out of the position by going for the Berlin. And I just read the latest new in chess. Should stop plugging them, but I just did read it. And I read the notes to the game Carlsen-Aronian, which was this very line, bishop b5, knight d4, knight takes d4. I believe I also did a video on that game after it happened from the European, what was it, team championship in Reykjavik, which Aronian won in great style. So long story short, I'm very familiar with the intricacies of knight d4 after that read, but bishop c4 and h3 didn't happen in that game, so now I'm on my own. I believe I'm probably supposed to take on f3, because if white ever takes on d4, I would lose more time than after just taking on f3 and leaving my bishop on c5. So takes followed by h6, something like that looks like the very sound way to play. And now that he's forcing me to do it, I shall do so. I'm not sure here if I want to go h6. Yeah, I think I do. Reason I'm hesitating is after castles there's bishop g5, which is a little unpleasant. I thought d5 might be interesting, but it's a little nutty to do without having castled. And h6, I wasn't 100% sure how I react to queen g3. I could go knight h5 repeating moves, but that's not really ambitious. So yeah, none of this happened, and he's played arguably a sounder move, bishop e3, leading to simplifications. I'm going to take here. I don't think fe is a good idea in this position, so you should take with a queen, and then I'll castle and try to get in d5 quickly with roughly equal play. If f4 I can take and go d5, so I'm not concerned about f4 at all. Yeah, probably white should just go knight d2 or bishop b3 or some slowish move. Egalité against the rock and roller. Bishop b3, decent enough move. I don't know when Svidler's next Banter Blitz is, but yeah. Poor man is busy, he's got to prepare for the candidates, so yeah, I was tremendously happy when he agreed to come over and do the second half of the Weikantsee show, and I did promise in return, which is more of a curse than a blessing, that we would look at some chess. But yeah, I'm not sure. I think he's on the road doing stuff right now, but he will be back. I'm not sure about the next date. I think he's very busy because the candidates is a huge tournament, especially for an incredibly old man like Svidler. Tongue-in-cheek before you tell him. I honestly believe that he does have a chance to qualify if things go well, and he is taking this very seriously, preparing and so on and so forth. So I'm not sure how much Peter we're going to get before the candidates, but he's still around, and yeah, I'm just thrilled to have him for Vike. Probably during Vike, there's going to be 1 or 2 rest days. Then we can throw in a Banter Blitz with him. People have also asked about a new Q&A with Peter. Maybe we can do one of those. We'll get stuff done. And yes, Fiddler is ridiculously old. Don't even dispute that claim by yelling at me in capital letters. He's like over 40. I'm not sure if it's the oldest man I know, but yeah, I'm having to think for a long time if I know anybody who's older than Peter. Maybe Nigel Short is even older, I'm not sure. No, anyway, I'm very much looking forward to that. And I believe he probably won't forgive me for all the comments I just made, but we shall live. I'm wondering how I'm gonna climb out of this age hole which I dug myself. I could point out that he's only like 3 years older than me, but that's still an incredible difference, especially at that age. Like, I'm youthful, while Svidler is an elderly gentleman, let's face it. As for the game, yeah, the position is equal. I don't really know what I'm doing. I thought pushing this pawn and gaining some space made some sense. Now I can't decide if I want to go a3 or not. And I decided, since I can't decide, I might as well. Yeah, wondering what else I can tell you about Chess 24 land. I've been more or less around during the holidays. I went somewhere over New Year's, and yeah, I came back to the office yesterday, and I feel good. I don't know, not refreshed or not motivated or anything, but I'm feeling more positive than I usually do, especially after b takes a3. I thought he had to go b4, because now there's weaknesses, and I like having weaknesses to attack. So yeah, all of these great New Year spirits will be gone should I lose the game. I can promise you that much. And maybe I was quick to criticize his decision, because I don't really have a good follow-up, and this bishop has a very nice square on b3, so maybe ba3 wasn't that bad. But long term, these guys on a2 and c3 should be targets. And queen f3, asking me to play g6 to stop knight f5. Even though knight f5 is not a big threat, I shall oblige, because g6, king g7 looks like a useful little improvement for my position. Could try to go for queen g3 and some cheapo with knight g6 or knight f5, but I don't really see that happening. Just king h7 or even king g7, but probably king h7. So yeah, it's all good. I think I'm slightly better, but the real battle still lies ahead. Not unlike Star Wars, where the Force just woke up, but it's not really there yet. I know I have mixed feelings about Star Wars, but I have talked about this earlier. I'm not that much of a Star Wars guy, because I didn't grow up with it, unlike many other people who used to play Star Wars games and all kinds of stuff as kids. Didn't happen to me. So for me, it's decent old movies. Probably all the other old movies back then were crap, but I'm not as excited about it as most people. So I thought it was decent, was watchable. I thought there were some plot holes, but I believe people are going to get very mad at me if I start spoiling. So not going to be able to do it. So not sure what to do here. I'm really, playing mediocre chess, and that's sort of an optimistic statement. d4 opens this bishop and might lead to my getting checkmated. It had some abstract positional considerations, like let's not blunder the d5 pawn. I'm not sure about it. After cd, ed would be nice if I could get a hold of the dark squares, but he can go queen g3, and I'm not sure I can. So I'm going to go queen takes d4 and hope I don't get mated with some knight f5 trick. Good news is I'm not going to get mated with some knight f5 trick. The knight just returned to f3. Yeah, objectively I'm possibly still slightly better, but the down f3 stops me from going knight g5, which was my other very deep long-term plan. Put the knight here. So Still a lot of chess to play in this game. However, as usual, the plan B operations are looking quite positive. If you know what I mean. 19. Rock and Roller realized now that the seconds started ticking that he is a little low on time. He's speeding up, but it might be too late. Let's confuse matters. Just to confuse him. And also because it might win a pawn. Both things I like, confusion and pawns. Multi-purpose move, attacking while defending. Queen f4. Can I grab this? I'm so greedy. There's probably more elegant ways to finish this off, but good old-fashioned greed here on display. And 2 pawns are 2 pawns, as we say in my neighborhood in Hamburg. And Rock and Roller resigns, was very low on time. Good game by Rock and Roller. Let's play another very strong opponent, Mr. Barelas. Why are people so obsessed with getting me to pronounce squirrel? I don't think it's that hard a word, is it? I might be mispronouncing it and it's hilarious, but I never thought that squirrel was the toughest word in the English language. Not sure what the toughest word is. Barelas is probably a very tough word. I don't know. Is that Grandelius? You guys can't see this. In the notation, the time displays milliseconds now. I'm not sure if we made some improvement. It's confusing me. 5e3 took me 5.32 milliseconds, which is a long time since it's all theory, and I should be faster. But we did get the main line of the Marin. Not Mark Maron, whose podcast I listened to, but the Maron variation, bishop d3, bishop b7. This is one of these positions where e4, castles, and a3 are all viable candidates, and I switch around between them. I used to play this a lot with black, so I feel comfortable here. But I can never decide what line is the most testing. a6 is not the main line, even though it's a decent move. Bishop d6 or b4 are the main moves, and the idea of white playing a3 was to go b4 to stop black from going c5. This is all theory. a5, rook b1, takes, and then either bishop d6 or knight d5. I think knight d5 is more critical. I've had a game here once against Iescas with me being on the black side, and I concluded I didn't like the position that much, even though the computer is very optimistic for black there. I wasn't so thrilled. And Barelas has gone for bishop d6, and I have to think for a second if I'm supposed to castle here or if I can start some immediate action with knight g5 or e4. Throws in queen e7, all very sensible moves. I'm not sure if I should go queen b3. Sometimes e4 is good here. Probably too subtle for this little blitz game of ours, so I'll play the more natural looking queen b3. These structures are weird. White wants to get an e4, e5, but e4 will always be met with e5. And it's the timing of it is very, very crucial. Black wants to go e5 anyway. So yeah, it's a tricky position. I'll make one multi-purpose move to see if he wants to go e5 immediately or if he wastes the tempo on something else when my e4 should gain in strength. If he goes e5 though, I'm not 100% sure how to react. Generally, I always liked white in these structures because his bishop on b7 is out of play, even if I end up with an isolated pawn. But they are very complex. One point of a3 is it prepares knight g5, which sounds strange, but knight g5 would immediately could have run into bishop takes h2, followed by knight g4 check, which is a typical theme in these lines. I want to go knight g5 because I want to put this knight on e4 to, first of all, stop him from going e4 and to control these squares. So yeah, pretty standard position, looks very, very similar. I don't think it's the same position, but very similar to a game I once had against Mr. Nair. What's going on? Tough German words. Wasserstoffbrückenbindung. Yeah, it's just a long word in German. We awkwardly fit words together and pretend it's one word instead of a couple of words. So we have a lot of very long words in German. He goes bishop c7, intending e takes d and queen d6, which, yeah, is clever. But should I be afraid? I don't know. Maybe I should be. I could just go bishop b2. I'm not sure if that's the right square for the bishop. Choices. The thing is, I don't think ed queen d6 is much of a threat. I can just go knight f3 back, and I don't think he's improved his piece arrangements by doing so. Bishop b6 was the idea. Did not see that coming at all, I have to admit. Okay, time to focus. Yeah, that shows a drawback of my move bishop d2 indeed. Missed that. Not happy. Very good move. Okay, I'm gonna have to switch to humiliating passive defense. I can't see anything better than de5, but now his pieces become very active and something has gone very wrong for me. Now c5 is in the air. Black is absolutely fine here, and I have to pay close attention so that I don't get crushed. Because, yeah, his pieces have a lot of active potential. Structurally, I'm still okay, but I'm very worried about the position getting opened and his bishops becoming too active, because my pieces are a little all over the place. If I get some time to play bishop e1, knight f3, whatever, should still be okay. But, yeah, something's gone wrong. Bishop c8 is a very decent move, because, yeah, this bishop, as mentioned, is the problem piece for black. If he can regroup it to f5 or to e6 after h6, black should be doing all right. Now he's daring me to play e4, which would open up this bishop. But I don't know. Black is okay in either case. Nah, I think I should go e4 anyway. I'm not sure about that. Maybe rook e1 was a little more prudent. I thought this bishop might be bad on g6, but I'm not sure how bad it really is, because it also puts pressure on e4. No, I'm being outplayed here. Kudos to Barelas, who's playing better than me. Not a very passive move. No, I'm not playing well. Knight d5 looks good now. Oof. A lot of reasons for concern. Pawn of queen c2 was that after h6 I can go knight f3 and more or less defend everything, but yeah, it looks bad. What can I tell you? Bishop d4, I'm not that concerned about losing that pawn as long as I get the dark squared bishop. So let's say he goes h6, knight f3, and then takes on c3. I can live with that. But my pieces are so loose, I just have a feeling something might give. Can I also live with bishop c3, h6, knight f3, bishop e4? Is a more complicated question. I guess I can't, so I have to take it like this. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. These things tend to be not too bad, apart from the fact that I just blundered my rook in one move because I was so excited about this position. Yeah, that was ridiculous. I was gonna go into a long explanation about how positionally this is not so bad with the two bishops against the knight and bishop, but if you blunder and exchange one move, all of that is pretty much off the table. And I'm low on time and material down, so things aren't looking great. I'll speed up and hope for a miracle. Don't expect it to happen. I do like bishops, however, so even though objectively I'm totally lost, all hope is not yet gone. The resistance is still alive. More worrying circumstances that I'm also behind on the clock. Oh, and he's making some genius moves like knight e5. Who can anticipate such stuff? Seems to work, so I'm gonna have to once again go back. Be humble. Ugh, I'm also playing badly. Play bishop b2 at least. Because now, yeah, he also takes this guy. Things aren't getting any better. Things are very bad. Really, really bad. So once again, a new hope is plan B, and that's pretty much the only hope left as well. Sad but true. Yeah, he's making steady progress, unfortunately. Yeah, this endgame is winning for black, of course, because he's 2 pawns up. He might not be in time to punish me. I'll offer a draw, being the fair sportsman that I am, because I don't really deserve to win this game. Barelas just crushed me, and yeah, obviously I'm not a fair sportsman at all, but I would have felt too dirty even for my own standards to flag him there. But yeah, I was just outplayed. Not much I can say. He played better than me, and it looks like age is taking a toll on me, and I've become even weaker at bantering, banter blitzing. Nah, I'm just rusty. Rusty the clown. Let's play against Nikos Spanos from Greece, I believe. Yeah, our Swedish friend played a very, very good game. Not much I can say in my defense. I was just outplayed. But yeah, I shouldn't have blundered that. Rook on b1 in one move there was a little pathetic. Nikos Spanos is a big fan of bringing the knights out. I don't know, I never really understand what this knight is doing on c3, blocking the pawn on c2, which really wants to go to c4 to challenge the center. But of course, with white you can take all kinds of liberties, and I'm not arguing that white is worse here or anything. I just don't understand why you would do that. Adi292 wants to know how he becomes a GM. I don't know, Adi. I believe, yeah. Putting in the hours is important, as dumb as it sounds. If you're young and obsessed with chess, that helps. I don't think, yeah, there's any secret. Just enjoy playing and enjoy reading about chess and studying and practicing and all that stuff. Good old 10,000 hour rule. I'm not sure that always applies, but putting in a lot of time is unfortunately necessary. Even once you are a GM, that doesn't make you immune to terrible blunders pretty much every game, as we can see. Watching yours truly embarrassing himself here. Nikos Spanos has gone very aggressive with me. He's trying for immediate checkmate with g4, knight e5. Now he's going to go h4. He's going to try to blow me right out of the water here, which, yeah, I don't appreciate such behavior, and I will not stand for it. I think I'm still okay though. But yeah, such unwarranted aggression. Try to find some counterplay somewhere. Start by attacking this dude. See where that takes us. Queen d2. Hoping he blunders his queen with cd4, bishop b4. That really is the main and only purpose of my move. C takes d4. ed4, of course, is a better move. And yeah, I'll continue to open the position just a little bit so I can get some counterplay before his kingside attack catches too much speed. h5, I'll throw in bishop e4 just to provoke f3, and yeah, I think the pawn is a little worse on f3 than on f2. Now go here and see what happens. I don't see a checkmate just yet. while if I'm given a little time, I will have some threats of my own, hopefully. Sorry. Switch the sound off for the next one. Here we go. Short castles. He's giving up on his checkmating intentions. I like that, because I don't like to get checkmated. And now these far advanced pawns are probably more of a weakness. Yeah, now I'm almost winning, because there's a lot of weaknesses on the c-file, which I will pick up, because in spite of me not playing well, my pawn-grabbing instincts have not left me while we change years. And I don't see how he can keep all those guys. Just can't see it. Another thing I've been contemplating is if I've gotten too obsessed with ties, if I should go ties TIEs, that is, not THAIs. If I should go tieless a little more often in the new year, and I can't resist taking here. It's not the best, arguably, but I just liked the geometry that queen c3 stops him from going queen takes g7 checkmate. Anyway, I'm not so sure about the tie thing anymore. I'm wondering if I should mix it up a little more and go a little more casual for Banter Blitz and stuff like that, and reserve the ties for the more serious shows. I can't decide. Yeah, those are the first world problems I'm dealing with here. Go tieless or wear a tie. Big decisions. Yeah, I've achieved my mission statement to grab both the c-pawns. King g2 allows me to grab even more stuff. Could have taken here, but rook c2 also makes rook takes e2 pretty unstoppable. So yeah, Nikos Spanos is in a world of hurt, figuratively speaking. I'm being told I look like Peter O'Toole. I don't know how Peter O'Toole looks like. Some old actor, I believe, but I don't know what he looks like. I also don't know if I'll be able to bungle this position. I think I won't be, but you never know. g6. I shall continue taking pawns and then hopefully not blunder rook c2, queen d8 checkmate, but I might. Still remains everybody's guess. Yeah, can't blunder it now because it's no longer a threat. Oh, now I could blunder by going bishop f5, queen g7 mate, but not gonna be able to do it either. Now I could blunder it again. Oof, it's really back and forth here. I do like my chances. King h1 is a nice idea intending queen d8 checkmate, but I do have a pretty efficient counter. Sorry, Nikos Spanos. No backrank mates today. Wasn't laughing about Nikos, I was laughing about some funny comments in the chat. Whom do I play next? The eternal Banter Blitz question. Can never make everybody happy. But let's play the guy with the excellent username Eddie.Bennett.39108. I should make fun of that because I believe that's a Facebook username and you get your Facebook name if you sign up with Facebook. Not sure how it works exactly, but I see a lot of these names with dots and numbers and I think those are Facebook guys. ID2. Alright. Not sure what that's about either. Many decent replies come to mind, but simple-minded as I am, I'm gonna go for d5. The knight on d2 is, to my mind, it's slightly better than the lines with knight c3. It's not standing in the way. And I've played sort of similar setups. c5 might be a little overzealous, because after dc5 I'm not 100% sure how I'm getting my pawn back, but it still feels like a principled move. And after c3 this knight is not very well placed on d2. Like, if we get this exchange Slav structure, this knight would much rather be on c3. So this is a pretty decent outcome of the opening for me. e3, bishop f5 or bishop g4 would be standard. I have to pay some attention to some quick onslaughts with bishop b5, queen a4, knight e5 and whatnot. But yeah, still couldn't help myself. Maybe I should have stopped it with a6 instead of bishop f5. But how dangerous can bishop b5 be? We shall find out. A3 looks a little passive. I'll just ignore whatever b4 intentions he has and move on with my development. Knight h4, on the other hand, is a very ambitious move, but I'm not sure you can get away with combining it with a3. Knight h4 makes a lot of sense because he's trying to grab the two bishops after bishop g6. Yeah, you could take it sooner or later, so I thought bishop g4 was principled because then after f3, bishop h5, this knight is a little stuck there, and I thought he should have played queen b3. Because after bishop e2 I can just take, and now this knight is just far away from home on h4. In fact, both knights on h4 and d2 don't look like the happiest of campers in this situation. So black is slightly better, but of course nothing too bad has happened yet, just castle, bring the knight back home and take it from there. I have the Lawrence Trent in memoriam cup here, signed by Lawrence Trent, who is dearly missed, but he's having a good time out in the world with Fabiano Caruana still. He's made occasional cameos during last year, and I'm very optimistic we're gonna see his face in the Chess24 studios in 2016 again. But you never know, very busy man. Yeah, the game has followed the course I anticipated. The knight went back. Now, yeah, white faces a bit of a decision. b4 looks like the most natural move to try to go bishop b2. But b4 could also lead to some potential weaknesses on the queen side if I go a5. So I wasn't sure if he should do that or not. Now, it's another critical moment. Rook e1 is sort of hinting at e4, which I don't think is a good idea. So I'm not gonna make an effort to stop it. Still think he should go b4 probably, and yeah, I'll be very tempted to go a5 then to unbalance the situation a little. Knight f1 is just too passive. I don't believe this at all. Knight e4 was a good move as well, but this b3 square looks very juicy. I'm being told I have to play the other streamers. Yeah, I was challenged by John Bartholomew, and I'll play him at some point in February or something like that. Yeah, I'm not against it, and I've been told by wiser people than me that it's good marketing to play other streamers because your audience gets aware of all the excitement I'm providing, all these highly exciting games, these super complicated positions, the crazy tactics in every game, the discussions of very highbrow culture, so I can broaden the audience so more people get to enjoy this exciting show. And yeah, I will. I'll play guys whenever I find time and worthy opponents, but I'm afraid most opponents are very, very worthy for me. So yeah, I'm gonna look into that. I can't keep playing Niklas forever, even though I like it. But yeah, I'll play John Bartholomew, and I'm sure I'm gonna play some other guys. Eric Hansen, yeah, met him recently in London. I didn't really know him. Very nice guy. And he's probably much stronger than me. Like, all these young guys who play a lot on the internet and are grandmasters tend to be stronger than me at Blitz. Just like I was a much stronger Blitz player when I was 20. With no false humbleness. I think I was a very, very strong Blitz player at that age. Now I'm less strong, because, yeah, not only age, but also less time to just play Blitz games on the internet than I used to, so a little less practice. But still, even if I get crushed, I should probably play these guys for the above-mentioned learning and complicated marketing reasons. Here, not much to learn. I'm bad. I could have taken on b4, but I didn't want to bother with the rook b1 pin, and I have very easy ways to improve my position. Knight e4, create a luft with h6, rook c2 if needed, and at some point I will pick up this pawn, so it's a highly pleasant situation against Eddie Bennett. Yeah, given the fact that I outrate a lot of these guys by 1,000 points, I shouldn't get too full of myself, even though I will anyway, once I get a decent position, I guess. Knight e5. Easiest to take and then jump to e4. Could also go rook c2. But nah, let's not leave this knight alive. Whom did I say was stronger in Blitz? I think Eric Hansen is much stronger. He's, I believe, one of the strongest Blitz players around. John Bartholomew might also be stronger. I'm not that familiar with him, but I believe he's also supposed to be a very strong Blitz player. And pretty much any Grandmaster at age 20 or something who plays a lot online, I believe, is probably stronger than me. Still, I'll crush them all. Or at least I'll talk trash about them and lose. One of the two. So yeah, it would be fun to play some more matches. Yeah, Nakamura is definitely stronger than me. Most of the top players are very, very good at Blitz too. And even those who supposedly aren't, like Caruana, are actually pretty decent. So yeah, the top players are the top players for a reason. If I only was a younger man, in my heyday, you should have seen me. Nah, I was also weak. Bishop a3. Yeah, let's... Somehow feels dirty to exchange queens here. Nah, can't get myself to do it. Yeah, I'm not claiming I'm the strongest Blitz player in the world. There are many, many stronger players out there. It's sad. Soul-crushing, but I've grown used to the idea over the last 30 years. Still sad, though. I'm very good at knight forks, especially as knight d2 knight fork is one that's very easy to miss and causes Eddie Bennett to resign this game. Sorry, Eddie Bennett. Let's play someone else. Let's play against Christian. Christian 1109. What does that stand for? Is it reversed 911? Nah, I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think it's his FIDE rating. Could be his date of birth. But I don't know. We won't find out unless he tells us. And to take this show to new lows, make it even boringer. I don't know. I know that's not a word, but it applies here. I will play the Petrov. Which is not a bad opening, actually. It's a pretty decent opening. And yeah, went a little out of fashion because of knight c3. Famous game here where Vishy Anand played bishop f5 and resigned after queen e2 because that's losing material. But on top level, knight c3 is very much en vogue because this position has turned out to be a little easier for white to play. Normally they play bishop e3 or bishop f4, queen d2, long castles. Bishop d3 I'm less familiar with. You don't touch this bishop that early normally. And yeah, I guess it's hinting that he doesn't want to go for... I was going to say queenside castles, but now I'm not so sure anymore. I'm trying to figure out how to arrange my pieces here. There's many possible setups. Knight c6, knight e5, c6, d5, all kinds. b6 is even an option. Yeah, I'll go for this one, which I've seen this plan recently in a couple games, even at the highest level, something like Ivanchuk, Carlsen Ivanchuk. And it made some sense to me. I'm not sure about queen a5, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah, these positions you get out of the Petrov actually aren't that boring. It has a boring reputation because it can lead to symmetrical positions if white so chooses, but these ones, they're actually quite dangerous, and mainly dangerous for me, I'm afraid. Bishop g5 is a very interesting move. I don't like my position at all. Queen a5 was, I believe, a little naive. Queen takes. I thought he would take with a knight. Queen takes also makes sense with the very direct plan of checkmating me. And here we see the appeal of this d takes c3. White has 4 pawns defending his king, so it takes forever to open it up. While the same can't be said for black, and my king is a little vulnerable. c4, he's hoping I'm going to blunder my queen, which I'm not going to be able to do. But still a decent positional move. I was hoping for dc4, queen takes a5. Not going to happen. Here I'm not sure. cd5 looks like the most natural, even though it gives me an isolated pawn. It also opens some files. Knight d5 threatens knight c3, but feels wrong, so I'm going to stick with cd5. And I've also been playing too slowly, so this is the moment where I'm gonna talk less, speed up. Let's not ignore plan B. Maybe I'm just gonna stop talking. No worry about this. The knight was a pretty good potential attacker. Now my position is solid. I'm not gonna claim it's better. It's probably slightly worse if anything, but it's reasonably solid. It's very hard to checkmate me here. Still, I need to find a way to mix it up, create some winning chances, which is not gonna be easy. I'm hoping for some cheapos like a4, rook e1 and queen b4, which I'm not even sure is good, but gotta do something. However, Christian is not distracted by my fake activity and goes for aggression, which makes a lot more sense. This was the point of rook a8. Not sure if it's good. Gotta do something, usual. And here, yeah, at least I thought I was in not too much trouble, but I could be wrong. I shouldn't have pre-moved. Queen takes, rook takes was actually a better move. What are you gonna do? He gave me a pawn, which is nice, but I really have to speed up. The anxiety, the stress of playing chess, really. Mind crushing, is that English? No. Also, what do I do after queen b7? Don't know that either. Why is Christian playing so well? Don't like it one bit when people are playing well. Matter of fact, it makes me very sad. That's the kind of moves I want to see. Rook c4, that's the spirit. Sometimes you just gotta complain a little bit and people oblige, because yeah, now I'm taking the rook with check, which is good news for me. Sorry, Christian, 1-109, but excellent game. Some speculation that if Magnus plays chess, I have some inside information that he does, but normally not under his name, but he uses some friends' accounts or something like that. But I'm not sure if he's a regular anywhere. I wouldn't know, but I have some feelings that I might have played him even during this marathon. Now, of course, that's just rumors, but I heard some stories. He's pretty good, this Magnus guy. Can't say the same for myself. I'll find an opponent I haven't played yet. Sorry, can't accept the non-premiums here. I was gonna click on Michal, but he's not a premium member. Katsandfotes. Mr. Katsandfote from Germany. I think I've tried to make many German enemies by insulting the Germans consistently over the last couple shows. I'm gonna stop doing that. I'm German, I enjoy living in the lovely city of Hamburg, and I do like my compatriots. In general, Germans are much better than their reputation. I mean, not great, but much better than their reputation. Knight f3, c5, dc5, that's a line I'm not familiar with at all. So, I'm gonna castle. Now, if queen c2, it actually transposes to my pet line with knight a6. I believe castles maybe wasn't the most challenging. Yeah, and we're back to my line. Maybe Katsandfote has studied my videos on this g3 line. Now he goes a3, which also looks very logical. The drawback is supposed to be... Where's the... I think I can play aggressively here. I'm not sure about d5 at all. b6 or d6 also looks very logical. Yes, play looks surprisingly normal. I'm not sure why this is not supposed to be good. Maybe something else instead of d5. But here, yeah, it looks like white has a very reasonable position. So maybe Katsandfote is teaching me a thing or two about the Nimzo here. Not sure. Should a6? I'm not sure if provoking b5 is worth it, because it also pronounces the weakness of the c6 square. Yeah, I think white is doing well here. b5, bishop b7, let's say bishop d3 or bishop e2. The one plan I have is to put some pressure on the c4 pawn. But yeah, looks interesting. Bishop d3 looks like I can go for some cheapos maybe. Trying to win by pinning. It's not really winning, but I thought it was a decent idea nonetheless, because yeah, queen a4 and queen a7 puts the queen far, far away, while if he doesn't take on a7, I'm up a pawn, which you know how excited I get about being up one pawn in a game of chess. Queen a6 wants to keep the queens on the board and threaten 95. All very sensible goals, but the queen on a6 shouldn't be too well placed. And I'm a pawn up with a good position, so can't complain all that much. Still a lot of Magnus discussion. Yeah, like I said, I have some information. I might have played him, or he might have assisted during some games in this 72-hour marathon, but I haven't gotten it confirmed directly from him. I forgot to ask him in London, but some pretty reliable sources told me that. Then again, I do respect his privacy, and as a world champion, I'm very happy if he shows up anonymously to crush me sitting here. So I'm not gonna say where I was told that was him, but yeah, that's what I heard. Can't confirm or deny it. It's what I've been told. Can't confirm or deny it after I just said it. Sounds a little ridiculous, but you get the idea. I feel like I missed some way to punish Katsandfotes in last move, but this is gonna have to do. More questions about the Vienna series. As mentioned, almost done. Should come out in a couple days. I shouldn't give new dates because I never stick to the deadlines, but it's getting there. Rook fd1. Slightly annoyed I haven't won this game yet. My position was like overwhelmingly good, and I started messing around a little bit here with his knight d2, knight b3. Still better on a pawn up and all that, but the game should be over. Looks like an emoji contest broke out. I've never used emojis on Chess24. Do we have good ones? I should look into that one day. Let's make one active move. This is the one active move I tend to make per show. It's not very good either, but I'm trying to sort of activate my queen somehow. Another very elaborate explanation, sort of activate my queen somehow. And I also haven't seen anything direct. If he goes queen a7, it's probably just a good move. Once again, valuable lesson learned. Never try to sort of activate your queen. Yeah, it was just bad. Queen a7, attacking the f7 pawn. If you do such stuff, at least have a follow-up in mind. Now, I was dreaming of some rook g2 stuff, but it doesn't seem to work at all. So I've bungled another more or less winning position. I'm gonna have to eat a lot of humble pie and go back to f8. Some very embarrassing chess played by yours truly today. So unnecessary. Just from a winning position, a pawn up, we've gone to this pawn down, trying to get in some cheapos in order to avoid the mind-crushing defeat. Still have some counterplay. I'm not sure if I'm objectively in trouble, but this was not the plan at all. I would like to make knight g3 work. The problem is if I did it like next move after random move, knight g3 takes queen g3, threatening queen h4 mate. He still has knight g4, so it doesn't seem to get the job done just yet. Could take on d4, but I'll take a little detour to threaten mate in 1, which I don't know, at least gives us a practical chance to win the game. He spotted that. That's too bad, but I won't give up and create some new mating threats. This time around knight f1, followed by queen h2, and this one is harder to parry. I'm not sure how to parry it. Not even sure Fred would manage to parry this one. Thinking. No, I think it's very, very hard to stop. Good old Doppelschach, as we say in German. And yeah, this is checkmate next move, but I couldn't see any way around it. Sorry, Katsandfotes. Yeah, there I took some very dumb risks with my one active move, queen c3, but all's well that ends well, as they say. Do they say that? I missed mate in 2? Where's that? Where did I miss mate in 2? Let's go back to that. Because yeah, somewhere around here. Queen b6, queen f2, g1. No mates in 2 here, right? Knight h5, queen a6. Where's the mate in 2? You mean knight g3? Takes, knight g4? That's not mate. Queen a6. Still don't get it. Rook g3 takes. I'm confused, guys, sorry. I don't think I missed mate in 2, but wouldn't have been the first time. Here, where's the mate in 2? I was thinking about this, but this is not mate because of knight g4 stopping queen h4. So I'm still confused. Here, queen h3, gh doesn't work, knight g3, rook g3, and after knight g3, king h2, queen h3, king h3. So no, I think you're wrong. I'll move on, as usual. Asking for getting played in the chat doesn't help your chances, because I tend to assume everyone who challenged me wants to play me, and I tend to pretty randomly move through my lists and give slight preference, but only slight, to people I haven't played yet, like Mr. L. Schindler. I'm annoyed this new challenges window always blocks the name, but it doesn't pop up there. Yeah, there wasn't mate in 2. Feel better about that. Still have half my sanity in spite of all the blunders today. And let's play the Benko Gambit. Excitement. Oh no, it's a gambit. I'm not a big gambitier, and giving up a pawn on move 3, as Korchnoi said, can't be such a great idea. But it's a gambit I have some sympathy for, because it has a long time positional idea. It's not that you're trying to get in some quick tricks, but on these 2 open files on the queen side, there tends to be decent counterplay down the line. In this line I'm playing with g6, bishop g7 instead of, the immediate bishop takes a6. Has gotten a little more popular recently. The immediate bishop a6 has some problems, but this line, I think they haven't refuted. Can't claim I'm booked up here at all. But yeah, I have some sympathy for the Benko as an idea. I don't think it equalizes, but it does lead to decent long-term compensation, which I like. Bishop d2, I'm already out of book. I only know that bishop d3 is no good because of knight takes d5. It was a game Gelfand against Carlsen, and I'm gonna assume that bishop a6 is the idea here, even though they say if you assume you make an ass of you and me, so probably I shouldn't do that much assuming. And yeah, I'm not sure if this was correct play, but it looks like a pretty normal Benko position, where once again I'm assuming white is slightly better, but black has typical counterplay on the queen side. Not sure if I want this knight on d7 or if I want to move the queen and direct it towards a6. Typical plan for white would be to go a4 and prepare knight b5 to sort of seal the queen side. f4, you don't see much in the Benko, because normally white is not active enough to create an attack on the king side, and f4 does weaken the e4 pawn quite seriously. So I'm happy to see that, and I think it's not a good move, even though it looks natural. Normally white should first try to stabilize the queen side, and yeah, do something like b3, and queen c2, a4, knight b5 before touching his f-pawn, because this might come back to haunt him in many lines, that the pawn on e4 is now a target, and c4, for example, becomes a lot more enticing with white having played f4 and e4 as a potential victim of my pawn grabbing. In order to play me, I see there's some questions. Hover over the little name GM Jan, which you can see below this stream, and there you should be able to click on something like challenge. Then challenge me to a 3 or 5 minute game, and if we get around to it, you can play me. We're gonna wrap up this show shortly, so probably one more game after this one, and that's the show. But I'm gonna be doing a lot of new ones. I enjoy Banter Blitz, and between you and me, since no one's watching, it's not that much work to sit here and play Blitz with you guys, as we can see with video series or even opening clinics, and all the other stuff is a lot of work. But Banter Blitz is just here talking nonsense, blundering pieces, so it's my favorite way of spending the day in the office. So don't worry, there's gonna be plenty of Banter Blitzes. I'm sure we're gonna do some marathons or whatever fun concepts we can think of in the Banter Blitz world in 2016. So everyone will get the chance. And I think, yeah, after all my criticizing of f4, as I've done many times today, I've sort of played sloppily, and now Al Schindler has tricked me by getting his knight to c6, and I'm in trouble because he could go b4 here, which I underestimated, and I should have gone knight c6, c takes b3, ab, queen a1, but I didn't, for I don't even know what reason. It's a problem with multitasking. Can't think and talk at the same time, which goes for many people. It's never really stopped anybody from talking, but it's very tough, this Banter Blitz. I think I said like 8 seconds ago it's the easiest thing to do in the world, so I might be contradicting myself a little bit, but I'll use whatever excuse I can think of if I don't have a good position. I'll blame the weather, lack of sleep. It's really cold in Hamburg, and I did not get a lot of sleep. I woke up early. It's gonna last for like 2 days, because normally I come to the office extremely late and stay till extremely late. But as one New Year's resolution, I thought it might actually be nice to talk to my colleagues once in a while in the morning, so I've been coming in early for my standards. It's not crazy early, like 10 today, into the office, but I think my rhythm is gonna shift back to the old insanity, especially once we have tournaments, and yeah, then I normally do commentary, and then sometimes a highlight video afterwards, and if it starts at 3, then it tends to get quite late. Yeah, I'm playing badly in this game. In general, I'm not sure if that's arrogance, probably it is mainly arrogance, but I've noticed that against a lot of guys rated around 1800, I haven't been paying enough attention, and that should be a New Year's resolution, to take these games a little more seriously. Not to win them, but I feel like, yeah, it's sort of bad style if I make too many dumb moves and then try to win on time, or win whatever way. You merit my full crushing efforts. And yeah, I don't know. I don't do it on purpose, but I have a feeling I've been too sloppy in many of these games. Also not sure if I should take this pawn or not. It opens a long diagonal, which is a little double-edged, but it's also a thorn in the flesh on f6, which can't tolerate forever. North of Holland, there's a weather alarm. People ice skating in the streets. I thought that's what the Dutch did, since they aren't so good at football and like most popular sports. I thought they focused heavily on ice skating anyway, isn't that the thing? I should be careful now. I'm trying to make enemies in Holland after I already made enemies in Germany over the last couple shows. El Schindler played another good move, and yeah, once again I greedily went for knight takes f4, which might not have been good because bishop g3 is an excellent move. We'll see how it goes. I want to grab this exchange, but I'm a little scared because of all these weak dark squares around my poor left alone king. It is a little scary, isn't it? I'm probably okay, but El Schindler playing extremely well. I want to take a2, but I should probably not blunder. Queen d8 check followed by queen f8 mate, even though it's tempting. But no, not going to be able to do it. Must defend. Still want to take, but still can't do it. Sort of a pathetic move, rook c8, but what are you going to do? Yeah, I'm not happy with the way I've been playing, especially against some of the, I don't know, lower rated. If that sounds offensive, it's not meant to be offensive, but against people, yeah, where I'm a heavy favorite on paper, I haven't been playing well, and I will try to play better in the future. Even now I'm not playing well while I'm saying it, but Freddy the f-pawn got the job done in the end. Dutch are relatively good in everything if you look at the amount of population. You're not gonna argue the Dutch are any good at football, are you? No, I'm joking. I'm a big fan of the Dutch country. Spent a lot of time there. I've played for, I don't know, 20 years for Apeldoorn. 20 years probably not, but I've been there a lot. And yeah, I like the Dutch, and they are smart peoples. It's probably too late. They won't forgive me. I might have to issue a written statement, like now they have these templates for apologies. I want to apologize for everybody's feelings I hurt with my statements. They were born out of emotion and do not reflect my views about the Dutch population or the country of Holland at all. Something like that. Okay, last game against randomly going through list here. Thomas Jerome. Doesn't sound Spanish. Sounds actually more Dutchy. Even though Jeroen would be, I believe, more Dutch than Jerome. Is Jerome a French name? But he's Spanish, it says. Yeah, I know all about 88 Van Basten. It's one of my first traumatic memories as a child. I was, how old was I? Like 8 or 9? Yeah, minute 85. Stupid Jürgen Kohler. Had a great tournament, but then semi-finals against Holland. Van Basten. Hurt my feelings. Badly. Why did I play the Berlin? I don't know. Might be my default setting now if I'm talking and not thinking to play the Berlin. But yeah. I remember all about it. I remember Frank Rijkaard, Ruud Gullit, and good old Marco in the old days. It was very sad. We did get our revenge in, when was it, 94? The spit game with Rudy Feller and Rijkaard. Was it 94? I can't remember. Was it 90? Maybe it was 90. Yeah, I think it was 90 already. Anyway, here I once again haven't been playing too precisely. Queen e7 is not the most typical, or good, to be more honest with myself, setup in these lines. Shouldn't be too bad either, but a lot of drifting today. a4, while Thomas Jerome is playing well. These structures are very tricky. Like if you want to go a5 or not is always a very tricky decision because it makes sense to avoid seizing space. But there's also some drawbacks, especially later you can't go b5 so easily. So I actually believe that a4 is probably, a5 is probably not the best way to play. But in this position it did look like the right choice to me anyway. I'm not sure if that makes sense. I don't think it does. What I'm saying is, I don't know. I don't understand these bishop takes c6, d takes c structures, where black is a bishop pair, which I like, but it's very hard to find useful work for this bishop from c8. Like, the only good square it has on the board is e6. I mean, that's also the square where typically you want to maneuver your knight to. So I'd actually be pleased to see him take on c5, because then after knight c5, at least both my pieces can get access to that e6 square. And yeah, these positions, they are considered to be roughly equal. Maybe a tad better for white because of his more compact pawn structure, something like knight e3. But not too bad. And here's what I was talking about earlier with a4, a5. Sometimes it makes it harder to get counterplay with b5, even though I'm still gonna try to throw it in there probably. Well, Thomas Jerome is playing all the useful moves and playing extremely well, which, as we know by now, I strongly dislike. I like blunders and, yeah, taking a lot of time to make your move I also enjoy, but like useful moves and playing well, don't like it. Yeah, white is slightly better. Knight f5 followed by f4, and I have to go for a long, unpleasant defense. Not sure I should pre-move that one, actually. But yeah, it's a bit of a pickle. E4 activates his pieces while allowing fe5 gives me a weak pawn on e5, so it's not ideal. Yeah, Thomas Jerome has been playing very well. You could argue it's all part of the standard plan. Still, not easy to put an experienced Grandmaster in his favorite structure under such pressure. Experienced Grandmaster being me in this case, who's in big trouble after d4. I might have knight takes e4, I'm not sure. Rook f1. Yeah, don't like it. I was hoping for some counterplay with b4 and a3, but it feels like a little too late. d4, d5, and yeah. Not a great position. Mr. Jerome playing a great game as far as I can tell. Not doing anything wrong at all. Which, yeah, it's painful when that happens. This is what I was banking my hopes on, but I wouldn't be too surprised if there were some checkmates in the air now. Rook h4, knight d4, is there rook h7? I don't know, let's find out. Queen h5. Scary. Very scary, but I'm still alive. I want to stop potential perpetuals with rook h6, of course. And hang on, now I can give a check. King h2, queen g1, king g3, queen e1. No, it's too tempting not to do it. I'm not sure if this is the right way to go, because, yeah, forcing his hand, and I could have just gone queen to g5, but it got the job done. So that's it for today. Thanks for the game, Thomas Jerome. Thanks a lot, everybody, for watching this show, our first show of 2016. I'm very happy to have you guys back, and that, yeah, there's still people watching me whine about life and playing horrible Blitz. I'm happy about that. Become a Chess24 Premium member if you want to play me, or if you want to improve your chess. A lot of good stuff there. And I'll see you next time. Until soon. Bye-bye. I need a catchphrase. I got nothing. Like most podcasts I listen to say something like, enjoy your burrito, or mahala, whatever. Don't have one. Good night. Bad bishop.